Hello and welcome to lesson number 2. My name is Stefan Stanciu and we are talking now about embouchure and also how to blow to panflute, the techniques, especially, and also a little bit of tuning. So for instance, when you are playing with your friend, so that you both would be in tune. Embouchure. Our mouth is surrounded by circular muscles and we activate them always when we are playing. When you are smiling, you can feel they are activated. And so we actually form also our embouchure. We can try to smile with mouth closed and you can feel it. And then we have to make a tiny hole that a rice could fit in. That's the way we are blowing. So my way is to make a smiling but downwards. So and then it depends really much on how big is your panflute. If you are using a bass panflute, for instance, you can see very much the difference of the hole that I was talking about. As I'm blowing to the highest tones, the smaller is the rise hole. But as I blow to these lower tubes, it can be way bigger and less active, the muscles. And then down. Now when I blew a whoo. It was like a whoo. But so that we manage to get a better result in the sound when we are blowing, we use two kind of emphasizes. And the first one, you're saying tu or do, instead of who. So who, tu, do. You can also say ta, da, or te, de, ti, di, whatever suits you the best. I've always used tu and do because they are the closest one to me and suits myself. Let's use as an example archery. As you pull the spring, just a hint, that could be like who. The more you pull, do, more tu. The differences between who, tu, do are like this. Who, do, tu. You can see how sharp is the tu. Let's look at some pictures that was drawn by Pia Syri. Here you can see when you are playing tu, where does the tongue hit? It's somewhere in between your upper teeth and gum. Tu, tu, tu. Then when you are using do, you are hitting much higher, only in gums. Do, do, do. And so you get a much softer sound. Equally important is diaphragm. We have to use it all the time when we are playing. It doesn't matter what wind instrument you are playing, everybody uses it. And because of that, you can manage to get a better sound, you can control better and make longer notes. If you are a singer, you might be a master in this. so you don't have to practice this anymore. And so doesn't need also babies, because babies, when they are born and they cry, they use the diaphragm perfectly. So let's not cry, but let's try, for instance, with vowels, how to keep it activated and how to work it out. So keep your hands on the hips, feel the diaphragm, and just say ah, 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 eh, 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 e. Can you feel the activation? The activation also is in your everyday, when you are going to the bathroom, to the toilet, and making number 2, you can feel the activation of the diaphragm. That's the way and that's the feeling that you should have when you are playing. So that we can have the feeling of activated diaphragm is working, we could make this little exercise. Keep your hands on the hips and then just feeling with your fingers the muscles. And now we are bending down like a pocket knife, and when we are bending down we are taking a deep breath, and when we are coming up back to the standing position, we feel in the same time that it stays activated all the time, these muscles, this diaphragm. So, and when we are coming back up, we're just blowing like we would blow to the panflute. So, breathe in and blow. And all the time you have the sense that diaphragm is activated. Let me demonstrate you the differences between who, do, tu, and also with the diaphragm. So who, do, tu. And as I use the diaphragm, I can control way better my sound and the quality, and I can get longer notes. And yes, indeed, we can use also with diaphragm the vibrato. But about vibrato I will talk in later lessons, and there we can see that mainly panflute uses vibrato with hand, but of course it's possible also with diaphragm, like other many wind instruments use. Let's make some exercises. And for exercises, when you're doing in your home, use always a mirror, because mirror is now your best friend, and mirror lets you know if you are blowing in the right spot, if your posture is good, and so on. As you are in the front of the mirror and start to play, the first exercises were just having a good, healthy sound from the panflute. And let's take some tiny notes and try to figure out how to blow. For getting to this result, we have to check a couple of little things. So, the panflute should be right under your lip. If it's too low, here is the result. If it's too high, right under lip. And use always tu for this exercise, or ta, or whatever, you know. So, the next thing, that your airstream should be going to front. Not too low, not too high. So, when I'm blowing, this is the direction of my airstream. You can try with your hand. So if it's too high or too low, the results are here. Too high, too low, another thing is to blow in the middle of the tube. So as I blow, I should aim to the middle. If it's just a hint to the right or to left, here's the result. Just in the middle. Let's train a little bit with long notes. Long notes are really good because you can improve your lung capacity, your notes will be longer and the quality will be better and tuning perfect. You should train the long notes by daily basis. And for instance, you can first start with 4 seconds or even 8 seconds. And why am I saying about 4 seconds and not 5 seconds? Because 4x4 is probably the most common time in music. So 4 seconds, and you just choose whatever, as a beginner you just choose whatever type you want, which fits you better. I've always loved the D since child, I don't know why. And remember to breathe well before starting the tone. And you should end the tone. You have a couple of different ways. But let's try now by ending with, when you sing tu, it's like you said toot, toot. That would end the tone. So, other way of ending the tone would be just by closing your mouth. But that's a little bit harder because you have to have a better control. Now with toot. And now with the mouth. So let's continue with the training and choose the tube that fits you best. And let's take the 4 seconds. As you improve, you can choose, for instance, a scale and try to blow every tube in the scale in the same way. And try to listen that the sound is equally all the time, so that it doesn't have any bubbles in it. Stuff like that. Try to be practicing makes you master. Let's practice together a scale and let's choose G major because that's the easiest one, especially for the G major panflute. noticed the higher we go, the more we have to use diaphragm. The smaller have to be our mouth, we have to activate more embouchure and the rounding circle muscles. If you are a beginner, you should train the first week or weeks even in a tiny register, only a fifth for instance, because then you get to know the best way to your panflute and not too much try to evolve too quickly. I've noticed that adults play way better lower tubes than the children. Children like to play the higher tubes and they succeed much better. And that might be because children has way smaller mouths and they fit better to the tubes. But even if you're a child and your mouth would fit better to the higher tubes, you should have a great diaphragm so that you can be more successful. So the lower tubes is easier to play in that sense. After you have played the long notes, you could try to train the tonguing. And you could choose, for instance, again, 4 tonguing, 8 tonguings, and take, for instance, a scale. So, 4. And that was a range of fifth. A good practicing for beginners would be with this fifth, trying to start with the lowest tube and play fifth, so like 5 tubes. And after that, you start for the second tube and play the 5 tubes, then for the third, and so on. And then from the second tube, fifth again. And so on, the third and fourth and so on. After you have mastered these, you could try a little bit jumping. G, B, A, C, B, D, C, E, and so on. Like this. And actually you could bring those other exercises along here. So make it times 4. I went here one octave higher, from the G until the higher G. And you can do also this, also same practice with similars. So, and so on. Let's talk a little bit about our movements. As you might noticed, how did I move when I played these jumpings? So I tried to move mostly hands, but also a little bit of head. So mostly hands, but a little bit of head also. So we tried to make the most effort with hands. That's the most ergonomical. Head will be the secondary. I will try now to improvise something. It doesn't matter what. The thing is that you should watch my movements, how my hands go, my head and all my body. And I try to be all the time relaxed and moving. Okay, so let's now train a little bit tuning. And for this I will invite Stefan to play along so that we can hear a little bit of tuning issues and how to listen and what kind of exercises we could use. We could use, for instance, playing unisono, which means that we play the same note and we just try then to listen that we are close to each other. Let's welcome Stefan to play with me some exercises, and we could play unisono now first, and we could take the G major because G major is the easiest. Let's take only a fifth, so from G to D, and we play the same. I will play with bass panflute, and as you can see, he will play the alto panflute. Okay, so I will start. He listens for a second and then tries to blend in. And now let's play, let's say, the fourth. So I would play D, I would play D major, and until the A, so D, E, F sharp, G and A. And Stefan will play the same as he just played the G major. And now we try to start at the same time and listen carefully. As you noticed, when we played unisono, Stefan tried to blend and we sounded like a one panflute. And then we had the fourth, so 4 tubes differences, and it was much more difficult, and the tuning is difficult to make, and there's vibrations, there's even a third voice if you are carefully listening. It might be higher or lower, but there is that. Okay, that's also like more like a professional level, but if you are a beginner, then just try to listen that your tone when you are playing with your friend is all the time the same, so that it doesn't have bubbles. It doesn't have it should be straight all the way. It seems that Stefan already went to compose. He really loves to compose. So, hey, Stefan, come back here. We're gonna play you, and actually you could play along with us a tune that I just finished before this lesson. And it's called Pipe to Pipe. And we're gonna play it with bass panflute. So if you have an alto panflute, you will be playing octave higher, and it fits perfectly with us. You can choose whatever you want from those 2 lines. Okay, let's go. And with this song, we will end our lesson. So thank you for watching. I hope you will train a lot and hope to see you in the next video. Cheers!